We're here live on ESN, but back in here for coverage of the AWSCO Snapdragon Continental Series as we're about to start the final race of the first round of the inaugural playoffs. We're here in Oswego Speedway in upstate New York. I believe we're not far away from the state capital, Albany. Am I getting that right here? And here at Oswego Speedway, of course, a big historic racetrack in the Northeast modified scene. You often see big super modified events here for most of the racing seasons. So, of course, we're going to be taking the stock cars racing here in a bit of a variation to the usual format we see here at this racetrack. I am Rasha, of course, and with me in the studio, Ellie, I believe you're here with me here in the studio again. Oh no, it's Madison this time. Ellie's actually in the booth tonight. Forgot about that. Madison, you there?
Hi, yes, I am here at Oswego Speedway. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, what do you? Well, first off, I think I can at least gauge your opinion on this racetrack. It's we're here. This racetrack. How do I say this? It's a 5/8 of a mile racetrack. Fairly unconventional in its shape. If you look on the, if you look at a satellite image of this racetrack, you'll notice that it's it's very irregularly shaped. It's like every corner at this, every turn at this track feels like its own thing. It's not really a normal short track by any stretch of the imagination. And so I wonder what
The cars here.
Hmm?
The cars here aren't normal either. Of course, this is where the super modified was born. Those eclectically strange vehicles, and I bet we'll see some super modifieds tonight in the less desirable sense. But yeah, this track is just very strange up in upstate New York. The turns are weird, as you said, and the cars born here are even stranger. So really a lot to talk about with the history of this track, very rich. And yeah, honestly, just this is a real pleasure to be at this track.
Yeah, it's I think that's one of the things we've been doing. One of the things that's kind of the goal of the what do you call it? The Continental Series, the schedule is that we're taking the idea of short track racing, kind of moving it to places that aren't stock car racing on short track. We're taking it to places that aren't as conventional as you would traditionally think is kind of the bread and butter of a short track schedule. We've been taking these cars to all sorts of places. Obviously, we've taken it international multiple times already. We've raced in Canada. We've also raced in Mexico at Aguascalientes. That's another kind of racetrack that's fairly unconventional. That was another racetrack that was kind of fairly unconventional as well for a shorter racetrack. This one is another one of those things another one of those situations where we're taking this kind of race car and taking it to a place that isn't as well known for this specific style of race car, but is also at least fairly well known as a short track venue in the United States. So. So I guess we saw quite a few things from practice, especially with the a little bit of trouble with in practice. We had a little bit of trouble. Some of these drivers had trouble kind of entering the pit lane a little bit. This racetrack here, we have a double-sided pit lane. So I believe one side of the one half of the field will go into one side, and then the other half of the field will go into the other side of pit lane. That caused a few problems in practice, but hopefully with the amount of when AWSCO came here, we made a few changes to the racetrack. I think we moved a few walls here and there to kind of make pit lane entry a little bit easier, and with that practice time, hopefully these drivers kind of figured things out a little bit more. But given that this is quite a short track, we're going to be using I believe the rules that we started at Irwindale as well, where all yellow flag pit stops are going to be semi-non-competitive. Basically, you can't lose a lap on pit lane when you come in under caution. So that's something that might happen that's a rule that we'd like to refresh our audience on. That's something that happens once every so often at the in the Continental series. And just for your information, if you see cars getting waved around a few times or getting scored if they fall a few laps down, that's the kind of the deal that's going on here, basically.
Yeah, definitely sort of a more unconventional pit procedure. That tends to be the case on short tracks like this and really matches all the other unconventional things. Let's talk a bit about sort of the conditions here. Very normal, but we've seen, even in perfectly normal weather conditions at some tracks, there's been quite a bit of problems, especially with reliability. Do you think we'll see that again tonight?
Maybe. I mean, we are at a short track, so that's not. I don't know if that's going to be the primary concern for these drivers. Whenever we come to a short track, I feel like in the Continental series, the primary concern is making sure that your car doesn't keeps as many fenders on the car as possible. You keep as many fenders on the car as possible.
Yeah.
Although Although knowing how some of our short track races in this series have gone, it feels like fenders are an optional part of the car at this in some of these races. We saw what happened at Irwindale way back at the beginning of the season. We might see that happen again, maybe, with some with cars missing fenders. You mentioned that we mentioned the whole super modified thing. We probably will end up seeing a car at least without a front end. By the halfway point of this race, I feel like.
Just a car? You think it's going to be just one?
At least
I'd
one.
probably wager on it
one,
being at least half a dozen.
I mean, knowing this race, we'll probably end up with at least half a dozen cars. I mean, we do have. I mean, it is a 300 lap race, so there's quite a lot of racing to go. And especially if we get a flurry of cautions at the beginning of the race, which we seemingly have at every one of these short track races, it's gonna be those first 150 laps are gonna take a while, I would assume.
They definitely will, but we've seen that as a sort of trend with short track races, both in Continental and in Cup, where they start off very slowly, a lot of cautions, a lot of chaos, and then they settle down a lot later, I think. So I think it'd be nice to sort of, have a smooth race all around with some good racing, but you can't ask for that on the short track. I think part of the fun is seeing these modifieds go around and go laps down or even compete for a spot in the top 10.
Yeah, and that might be at least somewhat reassuring to a lot of these playoff drivers. A lot of which will find themselves starting a little bit further back, kind of at the back of starting at the back rows of the field, which, again, if you find yourself tripping up on things early on, that might put yourself in a bit of a hairy situation. And looking at our starting lineup, we should move on to that now. On pole, it's Ashley Johnson in the 24 for Ubermont Enterprise, and alongside her is a playoff car, the 96 of Lynn Oswell, obviously, who got into the playoffs on that win at Pensacola in the last race of the regular season. Hasn't really done too much in the first round. Only finishes of 28th and 17th in the first to start the playoffs. But with how turbulent the playoffs have gone, that's good enough for 12th place somehow. She finds herself, I believe that's 11 points above the cutoff line. So the name of the game in this first round of the playoffs has been survival. We saw what happened. North Wilkesboro was a bit of a. We saw what happened at the beginning of North Wilkesboro. We saw what happened in general at Kansas in both of these races to start the Continental Series playoffs. They've kind of been a bit of a mess. So of course we're taking things to a short track, which to an even shorter track, I should say, than North Wilkesboro, at least in terms of a scale perspective. At the very least, North Wilkesboro has one-sided pit lane, whereas this one kind of has to we have to make do with a compact double-sided pit lane, which always causes some issues with how crowded pit lane can get. But looking at the rest of our playoff field, if you look at the distribution of drivers of our playoff Lots of drivers starting on the outside. Look at that stretch between rows 10 and 19. The entire like second half of the outside are basically just all playoff cars, which is something to behold, I think.
Yeah, and the back 4 rows are all playoff cars as well.
Yeah, that's the provisional zone
and that's
right
quite remarkable.
Including starting in 19th, the last driver is Vinny Schultz, number 62. That is the driver on the cut line right now. Coming into this race, 6 points above the 38 of Isabella Fitzmaurice, who starts not far ahead, but she is the first on the inside of row 16. That would be 31st place. So yeah, lots of things. A lot of our playoff cars starting on the outside. I wonder what that's going to do in terms of ramifications on the start of this race. Because obviously, the outside line, that's not where you want to start at any short track.
Definitely not. Typically not, at least I should say. Sometimes if you can pinch down the inside line and get through, which is much easier said than done at a short track, you could do that. We'll see how that works out between Oswald and Johnson, both very experienced on these sorts of tracks. But yeah, ultimately there's just a lot to watch for. A lot of playoff drivers starting near the back, a few starting near the front, and some smaller players also near the front that didn't quite make the playoffs, like Ashley Johnson on pole. You have Lexi Rockwood, Jackie Kennedy, Tammy Bird, plenty of others. Very mixed up field.
Yeah, looking at our playoff drivers starting on the inside, the first one is number 7, Reina Munoz in the McMillan machine. That is a one to look out for perhaps on these short tracks. She's won on the half mile in Delaware, Ontario. And she is well behind in the playoffs. 19th place, has 19 points back at the cut line, has had a pretty miserable playoffs, 31st and 38th. But put herself in a good spot here at the start of the race at least. And with just how much of a mess the first round of the playoffs has been, everyone has a chance of making of getting enough points to get their way in without even having to win, I don't think. So I think pretty much every spot is up for grabs still, especially in that cut line battle, given how many cars have struggled in these first few rounds out. I want to say about I feel like at least we've seen at least 5 cars DNF both races in the first round of the playoffs. But I'm not entirely sure on that. We can double check that. But yeah, what are you looking for if you're one of these drivers in the playoffs, especially if you're one behind the cut line right now, like a Reina Munoz?
I'm looking for chaos as long as I'm not in it, because we are at a short track at AWSCO. There can be chaos anywhere, but especially in short tracks, I would hope that maybe there's something up at the front and you can just back it down early enough to get through. If that doesn't work out, then think about, strategy, try and work your way up front, or just, pass. That's a traditional way to get up front, and that could work, but certainly if chaos doesn't play in your way, try to use your brains or your car.
I mean, yeah. I think the key, if you're a driver that's, above the cut line and just looking to stay safe, for say a Carl Reynolds, who's starting up front here albeit on the outside, but fairly comfortable, 17 points above the cut line. You don't want to lose points. So if you're the 95, just want to race. I feel like if you're one of those drivers, you want to make sure you race smart. Don't do anything particularly rash, and especially don't cause any incidents, or potentially find yourself digging a hole, basically. Because if you're in that position, what you want to do is to just kind of buckle down and make sure you minimize mistakes. And if you are a Reina Munoz or even a Zoe Quinton, that's another driver who has a win at a short track. She won at 5 flags in the regular season, and she's 20th and last in the playoffs, 20 points behind, 1 point behind Munoz and 20 points off of the cut line. She's also starting a little bit further up ahead, in 12th place. That's another driver who I feel like you want to just minimize mistakes and run up front. If you can't win, then make sure you have a good points day. And given how many playoff cars are starting out back, including the driver on the cut line right now, things might very well fall your way, I think. Any final word before we send it over to the booth here with Echo and Ellie?
Well, One, I hope it's a good race, and two, don't be surprised if there's a bit of chaos, I guess. Do you have anything more to say before we take it over to our friends in the booth?
I mean, what I do to be Izzy Oberman right now, she's starting in 30. She's starting up in 35th, but it doesn't matter for her. This one is just going to be a bit of a test run, I guess. She's already locked into the next round, but we still have a few more. But we still have at least, one more short track at the very least. We have Martinsville coming up in the next round, and then Kern County in the round afterwards. So, and those two tracks are even shorter than the one we have here at Oswego. So, maybe just a little bit of short track race execution for that 93 team. Maybe that'll give them a leg up on the next few rounds, as that team looks to continue their playoff run. All right, with that, I think we're just about ready to send it over to the booth now. But as I mentioned, it'll be an Echo and Ellie up there in the booth, delivering the commentary. We'll see you guys later on in the race when hopefully we haven't taken out too many cars by that point.
And welcome to the Oswego Speedway in Oswego, New York. We're here on the shores of Lake Ontario, I believe. Yeah, Lake Ontario in upstate New York for the FloRacing 300 here from Oswego Speedway, a noted super modified track. We were talking about it in the VC. We could see a lot of super modifieds out there tonight. With that being said, I'm joined by Ellie in the booth here. Ellie, how you doing? And what do you think we're going to expect from this race?
I'm doing great. It's nice to be up here. New York is really nice this time of year, late summer. The weather is great, especially at this time of night. I'm expecting a lot of tire strategy. I think that's going to be a big thing to look out for here, especially with pit crews following each other's game plans as well, too. I don't expect any of the tire strategy or pit strategy to be too different from each other. I believe most people are going to be taking 4 tires. I don't see why you would want to do any of that here, like any of 2 tire stops, unless something really crazy happens and you think 2 will get you going. I think an interesting thing to look out for as well is kind of the playoff field. I am not really too sure what the strategy is there.
And with all that being said, we're going to take a look at our starting grid here from Oswego Speedway, and we'll get you an update on the playoff cut line coming into this race as well. Row 1, the 24 Ashley Johnson starts at the pole for this race. Bit of a surprising qualifying performance from Johnson. She starts alongside the 96 of Lynn Oswell, who comes in 11 points up on the cut line. Row 2, the 78 of Lexi Rockwood, with a very good qualifying effort. She starts alongside Cara Reynolds in the 95, who comes in 17 points above the cut line. While she can get away with not having the greatest day, she can't have a particularly bad day. Row 3, Reina Munoz, below the cut line, 19 points back. Munoz needs to make up some ground considerably. She's alongside the 12 of Jackie Kennedy. Row 4, the 4 Cassidy Jones comes in 20 points up on the cut line. She's alongside first start for Petra Ilatovsky in the 31 car. She actually topped her qualifying group yesterday. So she looks very fast this weekend. Row 5, the 84 Tammy Bird and the 5 of Maya Sheldeby. Row 6 is the 16 Leah Azelhart and the 82 Zoe Quinton, who came in 20 points back at the cut line. Row 7, the 44 Lulukani and the 64 of Mayumi Moriyama. Row 8 is the 40 of Lara Sundale, who comes in 18 points up on the cut line alongside the 81 of Alice Hageman. Row 9, the 59 Abby Buchanan and the 6 of Mila Tristina. In row 10 is the 04 Emily Tremblay-Vaudrey and the 2 of Rachel Ramos. Ramos comes in 18 points back on the cut line. Row 11, the 77 Rose Lockport and the 66 Ani Starchev. Starchev is only 6 points off on the cut line. She needs a good run. Row 12, the 60 of Jennifer Wilson, and the 25, Kathy Ableton-Perez. Ableton-Perez came in just 8 points up on the cut line. Row 13, the 99, Karina Willis-Callaway is alongside the 0 of Hieta Yoko, who's 8 points behind on the cut line. Row 14 is the 22, Naomi Davenport, a playoff driver. She's 30 points up on the cut line. She could get away with pretty much anything here. Alongside her, the 55, Deborah Williams, who comes in 23 points up on the cut line. Mostly safe, but probably wouldn't hurt to play it safe. Row 15, the 15 of Isabella Smith, and the 45, Liz Roberts. Row 16 is the 38, Isabella Fitzmaurice, who comes in 6 points behind on the cut line, and the 65 of Latanya Gray, who comes in 18 points ahead on the cut line. Row 17, the 26, Robin Morales, who's 21 points ahead on the cut line, and the 14 of Katrin Edelstein, who's 28 points ahead on the cut line. Row 18, the 93, Izzy Oberman, last week's winner in Kansas. She's guaranteed into the next round. Doesn't matter what happens, so she can just chill out. She's alongside the 51 of Sandy Martel, who comes in 21 points up on the cut line. And then in row 19, the 42, Freya von Lundquist, 45 points ahead on the cut line. She's safe pretty much regardless of anything, aside from if some absolutely insane things occur. The other driver is Vinny Schultz in the 62, 6 points ahead on the cut line. Schultz needs to get it going pretty quickly here. All right. Spending a while, so we're right to the start of the race. The green flag will come out here from Oswego. Green flag, we're racing at the Oswego Speedway. And Lexi Rockwood already making a move to the inside here.
Yeah, I was thinking that inside line. You're going to want to start on that inside line. I've been paying attention to a lot of the playoff drivers, and Kyra Reynolds is qualified great here, but she's on that outside, and it's just not the best to be there.
Here comes Reina Munoz in the 7 car, looking at the inside of Rockwood. This track, bit slick, not a lot of grip on the track, so they have to kind of tiptoe it through the corners. Munoz leads lap 2, but here comes Cassidy Jones. We've had 2 lead changes already in the first couple laps as a car's around at Sundale.
There they go.
Oh, Latanya Gray.
Stacker.
Had to check. Latanya Gray got run over. And she checked up big time, and she got run over. Field's still trying to sort itself out at the moment.
Well, we got our first caution of the day at lap 5.
They're taking a bit to get everything sorted here, but I think we may end up being okay, although Fairview cars have quite a bit of damage here. But looks like most of these cars that are sorting themselves out are coming through. And I say that, and Ani Starchev gets spun trying to come to pit road. Looks like mostly everyone is making their way around here. Again, these drivers will get back on the lead lap. We do have the modified pit rules to where every car who comes in here will get their lap back.
The thing I'm looking out for on this restart we're going to get here soon is where Munoz actually places herself here. If she can move to the inside, get out front, she can take the lead back. It's just a matter of holding that position. She wasn't very solid at holding that position earlier.
Cassidy Jones, who won back at Echo Energy International Speedway earlier in the season. Here's the lap down cars are going to come in this time. I'm going to extend this yellow. Unless these cars just refuse to wave around for some reason. I mean, okay, I guess.
They're sorting themselves out very weirdly here right now. Oh.
Bit of a long yellow here as everybody sorts themselves out.
I mean, I guess if you're Cassidy Jones, you like that. You get a little bit of time to rest and kind of coordinate what you want to do when the
Cool your
restart
tires
happens.
down.
Mm-hmm. This is a very tire-wear heavy track. And if you're Cassidy Jones in general, you like this right now because you're out front.
Everybody's back on the lead lap now, so we will be going green now.
And let's see if she can hang on.
Top three all playoff drivers, Jones, Oswell, and Munoz.
At least some of the playoff drivers are up here. Not really sure wanting to qualify in the back is the strategy on a short track.
Well, sometimes you just don't have the car in qualifying.
Fair.
Pace car finally pulls off. Bit of an extended yellow, but we're back to green. Here we go.
She stays on that inside, but there goes Munoz.
Munoz looks to the inside on Oswell.
She might get it.
I think she'll have it here. The inside lane just has a little bit more grip.
Yeah, the higher you go on the track, it just looks a little bit more slippery. The inside
Oh.
looks the best right now, and she's getting it.
Here comes Munoz for the race lead again. And Jones slips to the outside, and Oswell now trying to fight her for second. And now Oswell might try to go for the lead here.
and she's gonna get it. But Munoz is fighting back. Not sure it's enough.
And she's still stuck on that outside.
Still stuck on the outside, and now Cassidy Jones is gonna get second.
So Lynn Oswell clear for the lead. Cassidy Jones second. Reina Munoz third. Tammy Bird running in fourth spot right now in the 84 car. We got Jackie Kennedy fighting off Cara Reynolds for fifth. How about Petra Ilatovsky in the 31 car fighting with Lexi Rockwood for seventh spot. That's the, well, really rookie driver Ilatovsky is.
This is her first race, correct?
Yep, first start. And she was actually she actually was very fast in qualifying. She qualified at the very top of her group. And she dropped down a couple spots in the second round. She fell to 8th. But still a really good qualifying run for Ilatovsky. And we already have a few modifieds out here. 51, 66, 14. Now this is pretty important for the 66. Remember, she only came in 6 points up on the cut line. Now Vinnie Schultz did as well, but Vinnie Schultz has a pretty clean car, and I don't think Schultz actually. And I think Schultz did get lapped. Ooh, it's Lulu Connie.
Schultz's damage is like not very expensive. I don't really see any major damage on that car whatsoever.
I don't either. Tammy Bird up to third. Meanwhile, here's the 04 and the 12. Now looking like they might be battling for position. Lexi Rockwood's trying to climb up through the field here. Now we've kind of reached that point where they start to get single file. They start to kind of calm down a little bit. On the restarts, it's a little hairy because cold tires. They're on the restarts, you're kind of on cold tires. You're kind of struggling for that grip, but after a couple laps, the tires get warm. You start getting that grip back. Second spot might be at stake here. Here comes Tammy Bird on Cassidy Jones.
See if she gets a good run here. She's still on her.
You kind of need that corner. You kind of need that corner bite in the middle of the corner. Really, you need to kind of get that exit. The 04 looks like she's making up some good ground as well. She's gotten underneath the 95.
Run, yeah.
Emily Tremblay-Vaudrey, who's looked very solid in this 04 car when she's made the races. This 04 car has looked a lot more competitive than when Ili was driving the car. Meanwhile, here comes the 84 for second, Tammy Bird. Takes that spot away. She's up to second spot now.
She got that run she needed.
Mayumi Moriyama fighting back here with Maya Sheldaby, 13th spot right there. How about Isabella Smith, who started... Well, Isabella Smith started well in the back, and she's actually managed to make her way all the way up to 12th.
Jackie Kennedy is also another interesting car because she barely was left out of the playoffs, and she's been really solid in this in the playoff battle here. Even though she's outside of it, she's been performing really well.
Yeah, Kennedy's been very good so far, and you know a good chunk of rumors surround Kennedy now, considering that team is closing down at the end of the season. So Kennedy's pretty much a free agent right now.
I think she'd be a good pickup.
Absolutely. She had that dominant win at North Wilkesboro a couple weeks ago as the 95 is slow, and the round goes Cara Reynolds.
Oh. Lockport didn't hit her that hard, but the 40 of Sundale did.
They're all piling in.
That is not what you want to see.
A lot of damage to a lot of cars. 45, Liz Roberts has big damage. Isabella Fitzmaurice.
Ooh, the 45's damage is bad. I think that front end's gonna come off.
She's done.
She's
She's
done?
done. She's gonna be done.
Oh, yeah.
Damage is too much. 38 of Isabella Fitzmaurice. Looks like pretty much everybody's coming down pit road here. Well, except the 15 of Isabella Smith. She stayed out.
Wonder what her strategy is.
Bit of confusion entering pit road here.
Aye, careful. I'm surprised Lockport's still running. She did look like she got hit pretty decently, but... Or more so ran into the
Okay,
95.
these cars are coming in second time by.
And Davenport has made it into no long. Okay, she's.
Well, she came down pit road. Because these cars that stayed out first time by are coming in second time.
I see.
Russia.
Just a note on the pit lane here. Normally, I'd be questioning some of these teams, their decision to come in pit road a second time around, because that obviously means you lose all the track position you get to the cars that came in the first time around. But with the way this pit road is right now, and just how much of a mess it's been, lots of cars having issues, just getting a little bit confused maybe as to where their pit stall is. I do wonder if that's a bit of that might be a sound decision some of these teams are making, just avoiding the chaos the first time around. Maybe trying to avoid a little bit of damage there.
That, and as well, you're locked on the lead lap. Okay, my game's being weird. But whatever.
Long pit stop for some of those drivers.
Yeah, but locked on the lead lap, so not too
Take
big of a
as much
deal.
time as you need.
Obviously, these cautions are going to be pretty decently extended. Pretty much everybody's off pit road now. So Tammy Bird. I'm not sure what's going on back here, but there's some weird things happening.
Looks like they're having a hard time sorting themselves out a lot.
They'll get out.
I don't think you want to do that, Vinny.
She's fine.
It is a short track. They say drivers get very heated on these kind of tracks.
Okay, they're just coming down pit road again for some reason. Pace car gonna pull off. Tammy Bird will lead them to the restart. And here they go for the lead. Here comes the 04.
Tammy Bird trying to fight, but that top lane just doesn't work here, really.
It doesn't, but Bird was able to slot down into second spot. Able to slot down in front of the 59 of Abby Buchanan. You got Mila Chishtina back here, although here comes Buchanan for second. And again, the reason we have those modified pit rules is because, well, of the goofiness coming on pit road.
It's a weird pit lane here. Can't really blame them.
It's a very odd pit road, and here comes this battle for second. Here comes the 6 of Chishtina. Looking to take that spot, and she's got it.
Good move by her.
So out of the race, I will give the update there. Cara Reynolds, done. Fitzmaurice is out, which means Fitzmaurice will be knocked out of the playoffs. Liz Roberts, Katrin Edelstein, Laura Sundale, and Ashley Johnson, the pole sitter. Those are 4 playoff drivers, and a couple of those in a bit of a hairy situation regarding the cut line. Reynolds came in plus 17. Fitzmaurice came in below the cut line. Edelstein's probably okay. She came in plus 28. Laura Sundale came in plus 18. So Reynolds and Sundale are in that I'm not really sure territory. Fitzmaurice is in the out for sure territory.
Who knew you would end up on the pole and you'd be out in about 40 laps.
By the way, here's Latanya Gray. She's running top 20. Keep in mind, she got sent upside down earlier in the race. This 65 car doesn't look too badly hurt.
Yeah, her pace seems to be with everybody else. Just got a little bit of rear end damage.
Yeah, but it's a short track. I think I feel like it would be hard pressed to find a car that doesn't have some sort of damage. The 55 is top 10 right now, and well, she looks like this.
No front end.
How about Freya von Lundquist? Started pretty close to dead last. She's running in 10th. Cassidy Jones in the 4 car, who was leading a bit earlier. She's starting to climb back up through the field. Tremblay-Vaudrey in the 04, leading the way. She looked pretty fast earlier.
I have to say, ever since Vaudrey's been in the 04 car, she's been pretty solid.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she stepped in at, I think it was Michigan, ran 6th there. She's had a lot more top 10 runs in that car. She has 5 top 10s in her 12 starts so far this season. It was a pretty good mark, I'd say.
Yeah, and she's hanging on to that lead a bit longer than we've seen other drivers do it so far.
Zoe Quinton trying to take the spot from Rachel Ramos. That's for 5th. You got Cassidy Jones coming up through here, taking 7th away from Alice Hageman.
Pushed the 2 car and got it.
Meanwhile, change for the lead. Mila Chishtina is taking it away. And the 6 car. Cassidy Jones trying to move up on Zoe Quinton. And, you know, as the tires wear out here, you're going to see... You know, passing is going to become more difficult as the tires continue to wear out. There was the leader before the caution, Lynn Oswell, 14th spot, fighting with Karina Willis-Callaway. And again, all cars on the lead lap that are still running right now. Meanwhile, the 84 took the lead for a brief moment, but here comes the 04. Here comes the 6. You got good battling up front now.
Great battling. '59's coming in too and wants part of it.
Yeah, Abby Buchanan's closing up on this. And I think Chistina may have a move planned here for the 04.
The 04's got to push to the inside quick, and she's doing it. I don't know how long she can hang on, but she's fighting pretty solidly. Cassidy Jones all the way up back to 7th.
Yeah, she kind of fell back a little bit. The 16, Leah Azelhart, trying to take this spot away from Zoe Quinton in the 82. Quinton, again, needs that good run. She came in 20 points behind the cut line. She needs a good run. She's getting pretty much what she needs. Reina Munoz sitting in the 22nd position. Rachel Ramos, another driver who came in below the cut line. She's in 8th spot right now. She just passed the 81 for that. Kieta Yoko in the 0 car still needs to make up some ground. She's back in 24th at the moment. Third spot is a battle between Buchanan and Bird. First is a battle. Here comes Chistina again.
And she's got it. Lots of great battling here, I will say, all across the field.
Now, this has been a lot more competitive of a race than I expected to see. Through a lot of testing, it's looked pretty hard to get around cars. So I was expecting, you know, we might see the leader kind of run away with things, but we're not seeing that.
Looks like the 04 tapped the 6.
I think the 04 tried to get to the outside, but couldn't do much with it. Hageman fighting with Ramos, back in 8th spot.
This
And
is the kind
Buchanan-
of racing I like to see at short tracks, competitive racing like this.
Competitive but clean. You know, the cars that have damage, kind of not really the fault of their own, because, you know, it looked like the that incident was just some kind of mechanical issue for the 95. She slowed down very suddenly as they approached the lap car of Kathy Ableton Perez in the 25. And again, this is something Ableton Perez didn't really want. Only came in 8 points up on the cut line. Here comes Buchanan for second.
Buchanan's been creeping up, and now she's here.
And the top 5 all non-playoff drivers, as the 04 crosses the 59 back over here and is going to try to pin her behind the lap car.
Taking the inside. Lap car's on the outside. And that was a good move by the 04.
Yep, pin the 59 behind the lap car, as they might go 3 wide.
Oh, they're stuck just past her now.
Here comes Leah Azelhart for third. And Buchanan's really getting shuffled out of line. Meanwhile, back here, Lynn Oswell has moved up to 10th. Again, leader before the caution was Lynn Oswell, so she's trying to work her way up through a good chunk of this group. There's the 4 of Cassidy Jones trying to make her way through. She's gotten around Zoe Quinton for 6th. Madison.
95 car, the brakes burns out, they said. There was quite a bit of going on the brakes, and there was a little bit of flame, according to the spotter, so they did have to come to pit road and do quite a bit of work on those brakes. So that was the issue on the 95 with those brakes.
Well, that would explain why she suddenly got run into by everybody. Didn't want to had to let off very early, because this track does not have a lot of braking grip, and probably just got run into because teams didn't know her situation.
It's unfortunate for her too. She's been cleaning up her act lately and having some pretty decent runs, and now she's been having a kind of flurry of mechanical
62
issues.
is pitting Vinny Schultz. That's not good.
That is definitely not scheduled. Tires look pretty solid still.
Meanwhile, Leah Azelhart has just climbed to 2nd spot now.
I believe the 6 does have the most expansive lead we've seen so far.
It's almost a 2nd.
So maybe Tywear is getting somewhere. That or she just has great pace.
Here's Izzy Oberman trying to make moves. She just got past Rachel Ramos. Deborah Williams is here. There's Karina Willis-Calloway in the 99 car. Izzy Oberman, again, locked into the next round. Doesn't have to go through anything. She's pretty much assured as the 59 has come down pit road of Abby Buchanan. She was running well towards the front.
I wonder what's up with that car.
That is really not ideal. She was running towards the front as Latanya Gray has gotten into Ani Starchev. Caution is out. And Latanya Gray trying to make something happen, I think tried to make a little too much happen.
Well, now I'm not sure it'll matter too much for the 59.
Well, she's not going to get the free pass, I'm pretty sure. She's going to be stuck a lap down now.
I take back what I said.
Unless she takes the wave around here, which I think is possible. I could see her doing that.
You can make up that ground. Especially a car with the pace she has. I could see her doing it.
A few cars are staying out here. I'm not sure if they're going to pit second time or not. So make note, 59 and 62 are off the lead lap. Six car are going to win the race out. It looks like these cars come in second time. Oh, what is the 25 doing? Well, They have a lot to get to. We never actually reviewed some of these incidents at the beginning of the race, so I'm going to do that. What happens here, there's my Shelby. So the 40 car, the 40 and the 31 just got loose. The 31 got into the 5. Everybody just kind of stacks up here.
Yeah, this was that stacker.
65 just kind of got hooked on the roof of another car. Or on the hood of another car and got sent over. This is what happened to the 95. She slowed up considerably. And 31 got into her. And yeah, everybody just kind of piled in. Not really much to go. And it does look like the 59 car is going to try to take the wave around.
I think that's smart.
All right, Madison, you got any reports?
So speaking of the 59, who did just take that wave around, the tire, of course, went down on that car. It was apparently a tire rub from damage from an earlier incident that caused that. Just wore over the run, and as the tire started to wear a bit more, that rub got a bit worse, and that's what happened. Thankfully not a big deal, car still in the race, but a bit of a setback, if anything.
Gonna continue to be yellow another lap while we let everybody get around. Again, these cautions being extended just because we need to get everybody back on their laps.
I'm sure everybody appreciates the break. Something's going on with the 22. Okay.
I think the 22 just didn't properly wave. Need to go green. Need to go yellow another lap to let the 22 by because she's in a bit of a dangerous position. All right. With that being said, pace car will pull off this time, and we will go back green. With looks like about 31. Looks like 31 cars will be on the lead lap.
"31 cars on the lead lap, 86 laps into a short track." That's not terrible.
That's pretty good. Pace car pulls off, and we are going back to green. Here we go. Interesting note, look at the back end of that 6 car. There's a good chunk of, there's a pretty big, lot of damage on that. She doesn't look too bad for wear. Meanwhile, the 04 going for the race lead.
They are battling each other, and the 04 gets it. Interesting takeaway, the 04 was involved in that first stacker.
Yeah.
She's been great all night.
Yeah, she's looked pretty strong all night. I mean, again, at the short track, you don't really need that arrow too much. Oh, how about Abby Buchanan? Actually got out of that not too badly. Was able to take the wave around and get back up to towards the front. How about Ani Starchev? Sort of involved in that last incident. She's actually made it up to 10th spot. Now a lot of this is shuffling because of weirdness off the pit stops. Meanwhile, here comes the 16 of Leah Azelhart for the race lead. And she will take the spot away.
"16 has been a car I was eyeing. She's been slowly moving up.
And now she's the leader. Well, I say that, and she's getting passed for the lead again. The 04 is taking it back. Highest running playoff car right now, Rachel Ramos in that 2 car. She's up there in 6th, excuse me. Izzy Oberman's made her way up to 7th. Sandy Martel is 8th. And Robin Morales is in 10th. I feel like it's not too long until we see the 6 car of Chistina get back to the lead. Because she looked very fast. And she still looks very fast.
She's just got to get on the inside of the 16, but the 16 could also get on the inside of the 04.
Hey, that could help her. If the 16 can shuffle the 04 out of line, that can help the 6. If the 6 is able to get to the back bumper. Speak of what I said, here comes Azelhart once again. And Azelhart's got the position. To the lead goes Leah Azelhart. Fighting for 8th spot here, that's Izzy Oberman and Robin Morales.
2 playoff drivers.
A couple playoff drivers in pretty good standing. I mean, Oberman has the win already last week at Kansas. Robin Morales ran very well at Kansas last week, and she's pretty solid on points. Fighting for 4th spot, Alice Hageman on Tammy Bird. Highest running playoff car is this 51 of Sandy Martel, by the way. Running like a modified out there, but...
Hey, she's in 6th position looking like that.
Hey, 6th place, yeah, especially. That's a pretty good mark. Again, Latanya Gray, who was upside down a little earlier, she does not look too worse for wear.
She looks just about as the same pace as everybody else right now.
Yeah. You know, Azelhart is getting away. And we may see a fight for second as Chistina's closing up on the 04 again. Lynn Oswald, leader before the second to last caution. Starting to make some headway here as well. She's trying to get around Abby Buchanan. Petra Ilatovsky in the 31 car still looks okay despite being involved in 2 accidents already. She still looks like she's she still looks pretty she still looks like she's running okay in that 31 car. Izzy Oberman attempting to get around the 2 of Rachel Ramos. Got Robin Morales trying to make up ground here as well. Justina got around Trombe Vaudrey. 26 just kind of gets a little tap to the 81 here.
She definitely wants to get by.
Caution. Caution is out. There's a car around. It's Karina.
Ooh.
It's the 99.
I wonder what caused that.
The 16 was technically the only car that hadn't taken the caution flag. We'll see if we can get a look into what happened to the 99 car to bring out the yellow. Wouldn't be surprised if we get pit stops. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't. Looks like some cars coming in, some cars staying out. Trying to send this 99 out to beat the pace car, but they can't do it.
Didn't get out of there fast enough.
Nope. The 16 of Azelhard is choosing to stay out here.
Wonder what her strategy is with that. Fresh tires and a short track will get you places.
No free pass car. So Karina Willis Calloway back here. Oh, she had some sort of issue.
I see.
31.
31 just pushes her.
Just send her around. At the time they took the caution flag, the 99 was a lap down. Oh dear, what are they doing back there? Somebody just got absolutely plowed into. The 7 was trying to get her lap back. We are going to go back green this time. As, whoa, the 51 has just stopped on the track. And the caution is immediately right back out.
Was that mechanical I'm going to
Ooh,
assume?
that was close at the line, but it looks like the 6 got it.
Photo finish for that.
And they're calling it for the 6.
Can't believe we just got out of that caution.
Got out of a yellow just to get another one immediately. Free pass car is the 99 of Karina Willis Calloway. Big benefit to her.
I'm sure she is really happy.
And this will also give us 6 and the 16 are coming down pit road. Looks like most of the rest of the field is staying out here, though.
Everybody pitted but the 16, really, so makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious as to why the 6 came down with her.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Could have just needed an adjustment or something.
Now, Jackie Kennedy will get the remainder of her laps back when we go back to the green flag.
She was on pit road for a while.
Yeah, again, that's just the pit road being weird.
I see.
Pit road's a bit messy here, so that's all that is, really. Ooh, the 16 is going to end up a lap down, so again, she'll also be waived here. Like a fair few cars more are thinking about pitting here.
I guess if you could take advantage of it, why
Never
not?
mind, the 16's pitting again. Why? "16 locked on a lead lap again, so she'll get waived here. Gonna have one more lap of caution. Madison, what do you got on Martel?
Right, on the 51, that engine pretty much went. Camshaft, actually broke in half on that thing, believe it or not, so that's going to be pretty much done for that engine. So, not a great way to end the night for the 51 team.
No, and she came in about 21 points up on the cut line, and she's going to end up 32nd. So, despite all the chaos we've seen, not a lot of cars are actually out of this race. So, for Martel, she's really going to need to hope that that doesn't spell disaster. '66 looks very slow. Pace car's off. We're back to green from Oswego.
There we go.
Now, I'm going to be curious about watching that 6 and the 16 here. And these two just got restart penalties. That's awesome. Oh, another car's pitting, and we got a car on the wall. It's Yoko. And Ilatovsky's involved again, and Yoko gets into it, and Iselhart could not slow up in time.
That is not a good crash, especially for Azelhoit.
I think they might have got sacked up by somebody coming to pit road in front of them.
The 16 hit hard. She might be out of the race.
I think she's probably done here. And Yoko as well. That's not good for her either. Came in below the cut line. That might be the end of her playoff hopes.
I think a big issue right now too could be with all of the cautions, the tires are cooling down. They're not as warmed up as they were earlier, especially with some of the fresh tires. That could be another issue.
Zero is out of the race.
It's unfortunate for the Zero.
Yeah, so Yoko probably out. And that's tough for Yoko because she was one of the drivers I think we all had penciled as a championship favorite.
She had a great shot.
She had 2 wins this year. Ran very well all season, but it's going to come to an end in the first round. Hazelhart, Morales is done. Morales, another playoff driver. She came in plus 21. Again, a lot of chaos going on. Okay, the 12 apparently got disqualified. Not by me, by the way.
I wonder what the 12 got disqualified for.
Probably jumped the restart and didn't serve the penalty quick enough.
I'm sure she's not happy about that.
Well, it is what it is. Let's see if we can figure out why that happened.
I'm liking our aerial helicopter camera right now. Oh,
Somebody comes to pit road in front of these cars. It's the 62. There's a bit of a checkup. And the 0 just gets hooked. Alright. Well, green flag is back out. I forgot to wave around the lap cars in the top 10, but it's fine. It's whatever. They'll get through it. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Tammy Bird takes it away. Remember how Kathy Ableton Perez got lapped earlier? She's in the top 10.
she's got no rear end, no front end, and running well.
She has barely anything. She has barely anything resembling a car right now, and
This is
she's
a
still
super
on the
mod
lead lap.
track.
Second spot, Rachel Ramos. That car looks pretty solid. You're seeing Abby Buchanan close up for third. You're seeing Isabella Smith in fifth spot in that 15 car. Cassidy Jones in the 4 car, making up some ground here as well. There's Lexi Rockwood in the 78. She's in the top 10. And Naomi Davenport is in 10th. It seems like whenever it comes down to it, this 22 is always up here some way, somehow.
Hey, look, she has this effect I've been noticing. She just avoids all crashes for some reason.
Might have a fight for the lead. Here comes the two of Ramos. And at the modified track, we've got a modified out front. Rachel Ramos to the lead.
They're chasing her down. Now they're battling.
Yeah, here comes Abby Buchanan.
Buchanan's got second.
Buchanan's clear for second, and she may be fighting for the lead pretty soon. For Rachel Ramos, again, this is pretty important. She came in below the cut line. She came in 18 points behind the cut line. She needs a good run, and she's doing exactly what she needs to do right now.
She's had a pretty decent race, and now she's leading. This is definitely what she wants.
Yeah, and consider that a couple cars that are right on the cut line, the 66 and the 62, they both came in. They're both multiple laps down. They're both actually 3 laps down right now. Mila Tristina's trying to make her way through the field, and she's got fresh tires. She's up to 12th spot right now. Alice Hageman fighting with Cassidy Jones for 6th right here.
This is definitely what the Rachel Ramos team wants to see right now. She is still going, still out front. This is going to be great for her on points.
Yeah, regardless of what happens here, Ramos looking like she's going to have a good points day and looking like she's going to be able to get back to continuing to contend in this playoff race. Meanwhile, Alice Hageman looking for 5th on Tremblay-Vaudreuil. Izzy Overman here has taken a top 10 spot away from Lexi Rockwood. And you know, Lexi Rockwood's having a pretty good day as well, as the 6 and 93 made some contact there. Oof.
Yeah, Lexi Rockwood has been very solid all race as well.
Started up towards the front, and honestly, Rockwood's been remarkably clean. That car doesn't really look like it has that much damage on it really at all. I'm kind of surprised. Lexi's looked pretty inauspiciously clean today. Fourth spot, Hageman making moves on Isabella Smith. That 81 looks very, very strong right now.
Yeah, she doesn't have much damage either. Not that damage has really been a factor, but she's a very clean car right now.
I mean, again, damage doesn't really mean anything when this is the car that's leading the race.
And she's still leading too. She's been leading for quite some time now.
Yeah, she's been out front on pace for a good bit. They're putting some sauce in those North Star cars. We've reached the halfway point of this race, so things will be official.
Hey, I dig Smith's sponsor. Her sponsor's keeping me awake right now.
What, it's a bit of a late night here in Oswego?
Yeah. You can hear the crickets if you pay attention, like... You got, like, super hearing ears and can hear over the engines.
That's,
The 99 battling the 64.
yeah, 20th spot here.
It's for A position.
Yeah, that is for position. Latanya Gray running in 16th right now, looking on Maya Shelby. Again, that 65 has been involved in a couple accidents and still running on the lead lap. If you want to talk about somebody who's been involved in a few accidents, Petra Latovsky in the 31 has been involved in 4 accidents. She's still running, and she's not even looking that bad.
She's been involved in quite a bit. She's been hammered, and she's running really solidly still. Poor rookie.
Yeah, first start, she's gotten the works given to her, but she's managed to still do pretty good with what she's got. So,
Hey, at least she's getting the full AWSCO welcoming ceremony.
yeah, pretty much.
The 04 and the 4.
Yep, that's for 5th. Jones has taken that away.
Smith pulling up. Saying I want to battle too.
'66 is laps down, so this is not for position between her and the 42, although she's trying to cut off the 42 like it is.
42 didn't like it. Gave her a tap.
There's the 6 of Chistina looking on the 93 still. Those are a couple teammates. You got 8th place at stake. Davenport going for the spot on Freya von Lundquist.
Davenport is an interesting one. She kind of just laid back the whole race. She started at row 14. Not a terrible start compared to the other playoff drivers. And kind of just didn't do much. And now she's in the top 10.
With all that being said, I think it's about time we get a bit of a break here. We're going to get Rashi and Madison in the studio up here for the mid-race report. Here from Oswego, So this has been a bit of a chaotic but interesting race so far. What do you two got for us down there?
Well, welcome back to the studio here for the mid-race report. We're coming to you once again here at Oswego Speedway, the midway point of the FloRacing 300. Just over halfway, actually, 163, and was watching the 22 of Naomi Davenport, running in 8th right now. Our leader is a North Star car, but it's not that one. It's the number 2 of Rachel Ramos, notably racing without a front and rear end or much of anything really. That's a car. It's a car, still, somehow. But yeah, we mentioned early on in the pre-race that what do you call it? Damage might not necessarily be a concern for these cars. We saw something like this as well in Irwindale, where cars without front ends or even rear ends were doing just fine in terms of from a competitive standpoint, and we're seeing it again right here. Lots of cars running fairly competitively, not discluding, of course, including our race leader here. But it's been fairly close between all of these. It's been a fairly close battle. We've seen the race lead trade places a few times here. We might be getting prepared to see it again. It's the 59.
Chris Buchanan to the inside. It's almost like we're doing race commentary as we see that super modified losing the lead here at Oswego. And as you mentioned, a lot of cars with damage. You see the 77 just ahead. Quite a bit of damage on that race car. The 25 back there as well. So certainly a very chaotic night.
Yeah, these guys are all kind of trying to stay up on the lead lap. The 62 here running 27th. I think a few laps down. It's been a bit of a crazy race for the 62, but a benefit to her is that we've already taken out the first two cars outside of the cut line, below the cut line, are already out of the race. Notably the 0 of Hirayoko and the 38 of Isabella Fitzmaurice are both out of the race, and so they will be advancing into the playoffs. So the 62 right now, in terms of cut line battles, those two are out of the way. But of course, with the 2 of Rachel Ramos contending for the win right now, lots of things can still happen. But the 59 just pulled away a little bit. Got a lap car in between her and the 2 now, or at least one and a bit, kind of one lap car ahead in terms of dealing with this lap traffic. 59 now. Travis Buchanan leading the way. 2 second here. 3rd place is the 4th of Cassidy Jones right here. Then you have this kind of battle here. The 81, the 84, and the 04. These guys are fighting for position as well. 15, 22, and 42. These two have been fighting for 8th for a little bit. And then this battle for 10th place which was between the 6 and 9th. It looks like the 6 of Justina has pulled away just a little bit here. But yeah, things are fairly calm now. We had a few incidents at the beginning of the race. We saw the 65 of Latanya Gray end up upside down in the early race stack-up. That kind of caused a big kerfuffle. But since then, we haven't had too many big incidents, I don't think. Kind of more of the usual short track fare. But now, we've gone quite a few laps now without any incident, as the 2 now starting to close the gap again. So that 2 car definitely has good pace overall, I would say, given that the 59 doesn't have nearly as much damage and is running these 2 are running at about the same pace overall, I think.
Yeah, definitely looks like it as we go back and see the leaders. Quite a bit of changing around. Of course, Tammy Verde losing a couple spots in the time since we started this report. 2 leaders, of course, staying on top of each other, and really a lot of battling on a track this small. We talked about a lot of chaos potentially being there in the pre-race show, and now that we're sort of in the mid-race, what are some of your thoughts on all the chaos, and do you think we could see much more tonight?
Maybe a little bit more in terms of incidents. We might see 1 or 2 more, given that we're still at a short track, and we might still see a few cars slip up here and there. But I think these cars, we've seen things calm down a little bit over time, I think, and it helps right now. We've taken out a few cars now, but obviously there's still gonna be some cars kind of mulling about, and maybe I do wonder if we do eventually get a green flag cycle for tire wear. These tires will wear down eventually. If we do go long enough without a without a caution, we're gonna have to. That will be something that these teams are going to have to consider, and that's something nobody's been really prepared for. I don't think a full green green flag pit cycle at a track like this. It's usually the biggest source of mayhem in terms of shuffling the running order, I think. Because at that point, you are very much playing caution roulette.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, we have seen tires go down. So could somebody blow a tire before that happens? We have seen that sort of thing happen. And, of course, it could be just by random chance. But with all these cars out here and as damage this year, I could think, you know, maybe a tire rub, maybe tire could go down, bring out a caution, and before that happens. There's just so many variables here. And, you know, I think at this rate, question is when would those pit stops be? Because I think you can make it on probably one more stop from here, right? I think. Or is it two?
Probably one more stop on tires, if I had to guess. Yes. I don't know if two.
Okay.
I don't know if 2 stops will be worth it.
Okay, so one more stop. The question is exactly when, because I'd imagine you'd probably try and.
I don't know. Yeah.
If anything, question is,
most of
do
these
you want to
cars
have the
came in-
worst tires later? Buchanan gets in the wall, the leader, but point is, do you want to have the worst tires later, or do you want to have the worst tires now and then have fresher tires later? That's the question that these crew chiefs will have to solve.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the calculus is based on how much time you want to lose, basically. If you assume that we're going green all the way, basically. Because you don't want to go... That's the thing. You don't want to find yourself a lap down. So I feel like you don't want to lose time at the first run. Because because if you fall a lap down at the very end of the race, that might be something... That's a different story, as if you're falling down a lap down at a... If you fall a lap down at a track like this, in kind of that middle part of the race, middle part of the run, I should say, kind of right after the, what do you call it? Right after the pit cycle. That's my personal thoughts on this, because if you fall up down at the end of the race, it's kind of a bit of a wash anyways, but if you fall down earlier, that might put yourself in a bit of jeopardy, because if you get a caution there, that puts you on the back foot for the rest of the way, basically.
It would, but I'm hearing that they might be okay on fuel, which is sometimes more of a deciding factor than tires. And you know those crew chiefs out there saying, please God. But anyway, point being, I think the crew chiefs have a big stressful question to answer, because if there is a caution, there's no way that you don't go in and take tires. But
yeah,
if it runs green the rest of the way, maybe you don't.
Yeah, that might be something to think about. But I feel like, well, it really just depends on the tire wear. We'll see what these drivers are running. We haven't worn out too much yet, because we really haven't had too many laps on these tires. That's the mystery of the calculus, I think. I don't know if any of these teams really know what the tire wear is going to be. So it's going to be a bit of a shot in the dark if we do continue to run long like this. Like this is we've already run quite a few laps without a caution. So that's gonna be the key to this, is kind of anticipating when things start to happen. I think that might really very well be how one of these teams that's running in the top 10 right now is able to kind of master their way to the win.
Yeah, we're seeing about half a second of tire wear, give or take a couple tenths from most of the cars on the track right now. And of course, there's 110 laps left, but honestly, that's not an insane amount of tire wear on a short track, all things considered.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's not too many laps. And these cars kind of last came in. Let me check the data here.
Well, decent bit ago, obviously, as we've had quite a long green flag run.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Fuel-wise, let's see. If they did come in, if they did come in with about 160 to go, that is probably actually a bit borderline. They might have to. It might be prudent to come in. That's what I'd say, I think.
Okay, but prudent doesn't mean it's the smart choice.
Yes. Ooh, the 84.
It's racing, so you're on the edge. You don't do anything unless you really think that...
Is that scheduled?
Or if you get a caution.
Here? Yeah.
Caution is... Oh, Tammy Bird is in. That could be very interesting.
Yeah, looks like
Problem for the 84 maybe? Or just a bold strategy? She was running 5th, not really making up much ground, so that might be the meta. I don't know. Because if you don't have much to lose, why not?
Yeah, that's the thing. And now with just over 100 laps to go, the 84 team is more or less good, at least on fuel and on tires.
Oh, absolutely,
and
will
on
be
tires,
good on
she
fuel.
can probably stretch that, possibly, but yeah, we'll see if these teams maybe start thinking about coming in. This is interesting now. Now with the 84 coming in under green, this kind of starts a bit of a conversation.
Okay, so about the tires. So if the tires are good for the rest of the race, more or less, and that's not the issue as much as the fuel is, I think the 84 is just one big on strategy. Question is, will 50 watt pressure tires be enough? And the question is, are the tires really enough to make drivers pit under green, or will they not?
It's viable.
Because with Bird, I think they are. Is that the question for everybody else?
Checking the lap times again, we are starting to see a little bit of. Maybe starting to see a little
about
bit
7/10.
Yeah, they're starting to fall off a little bit more. They're running in the low 19s now, as opposed to the mid to high 18s. So tires are starting to wear out a little bit. They're gonna start moving up and running a bit of a higher line. That's gonna make them lose time. So
I'd like to see the 84's lap times to see just how much faster, because we're running low 19s right here, and we say 18.5s are the best time. Okay, we don't really have much representative on the 84 yet because of that traffic, but
she's running in traffic,
clearly
so.
faster right now. Like moving to the inside of the 25 and just basically disposing of her right now.
She's making good time on these. She's making good time, at least in terms of positions.
The question is lap traffic, I think. If we could just keep on the 84 for a little bit longer just to see what she does in clean air here, because we should get a good answer on this. And that'll tell the crew chiefs and us what will be up with that. So gonna cross the line here, having passed the 5.
18.5, there you go, yeah.
So we're looking at an 18.5.
That's pretty much, that's what new tires will get you. That's about 7/10 right there. And of
Pretty
course,
much, and we'll see how consistent it is this time, now that she's totally clear of the lap car.
And look at that, look how many car lengths ahead of the 5 she is. She's moved up now.
Oh, absolutely. She's nearly on the 77's bumper at this point. That was an 18.9, so not quite as fast, but still consistently faster by at least half a second.
Yeah.
This could be the answer. We'll have to see.
Potentially. But there's always
I believe the 84 should be 2 or 3 laps down. That's very risky.
There's always the pit lane entry. We know how much trouble it's been in the race under caution. How do you account for that under green?
Exactly. So everybody else, if they pit, that could raise the probability of a caution, right? And that's Bert's worst enemy in 2 ways. 1, they get fresher tires, so that basically negates her advantage. 2, if there's a crash, she's multiple laps down, so that basically ends her chances. So that's incredibly risky from the 84 team, and I'm not convinced that anybody else is going to do that, at least not for a while.
Yeah, and with that in mind, looking at our FanDuel fan pick segment now, where do you go with this? You have one car already committing to trying to get green flag, looking for green flag pit stops all the way to go through all the way to the end here. But everyone else is still sticking to staying out for now. Maybe waiting until a little bit later in the run to maybe get some tires. And that's the question now. Who do you go with? Because the 84 is making up a lot of ground. But all that might be for naught.
Well, I'm going to pick the 84 anyway, because you look at this race and you look at that strategy, it's very brave and very risky. I've been vocal about that, but I think it could work. We're not seeing many cars come in. I don't know if we'll see many cars come in soon. The 84 is clearly faster. The cars ahead will not get any faster over the rest of the run, but granted, neither will Bird. So I think it's not that insane to think, yeah, the 84 could pass more cars and make up those laps and maybe even take the lead. It'd be definitely the hard way to do it, as we see the 64 there on pit road, but I think it's not that crazy of an idea. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think we'll probably start getting a slow trickle of cars, just the cars coming in maybe one at a time. That's one way to avoid a caution. To avoid a caution is if only 1 or 2 cars come in at once, basically,
Indubitably.
Yeah. And with that, let's see here. And Well, I have to probably end up will end up going one of these cars running at the front right now. Let's take our leader, Abby Buchanan. Why not? That's a car that's fairly comfortable. That 59 car definitely seems comfortable running at the front right now. Of course, all of this is gonna depend on how the strategy game pans out. But if we do get a full green flag pit cycle, I do think maybe the 59 might have a little bit of an advantage if she can just time that pit stop well. Maybe don't come in too late to the point where she can't take advantage. As we see, the 15 is also coming to take tires to get service. So here we go, another car committing to coming in now, committing to that strategy. But I think it's all gonna come down to. I think the 84 is going to have a big advantage in the early run for obvious reasons, but I don't know if she's going to be able to exploit that undercut advantage, given how much the tires start to wear late in the run like this, because she's going to be put in that exact reverse situation by the end of the race. So maybe watch out for. I'm going with the 59, but I'd say watch out for any of these cars running in the top 3 right now. Cassidy Jones notably doesn't have much damage on that car. That's a driver that's another car that maybe the guys in the booth might be looking at here for the race win. And with that, I think send things over back to the booth now. It's a very intriguing situation for everyone to analyze as we see two of our top drivers now taking a bite and heading into pit lane. That's 3rd and 4th coming in. We'll head back over to the booth now for the coverage of the rest of the race.
Ellie, you got a pick here?
Yeah, it's gonna be the 2 car of Rachel Ramos. I think she's got it. She's had the pace. I don't think the damage on her is going to affect her at all. It hasn't affected her at all. She's been running really great. As soon as she gets in front, she just sticks out in front for like 20 laps. I think as soon as she sorts herself out and gets towards the front, she's gonna take it away.
Well, I think, as we see, they're coming down pit road. A lot of them are coming down pit road. I'm going to take the 4 of Cassidy Jones. She's looked very strong all race. She looked strong at the start. She's looked like she's had a car to reckon with, especially at the beginning of the race. I think I'm going to go with this 4 car. Cassidy Jones, she already won at Echo Energy International. I think she's got another one in her here.
It's a fair pick.
And again, we're starting to see, this is getting really interesting now because we have this pit cycle. I was doing the calculations in the background while the mid-race studio was yapping, and it looks pretty borderline, I'd say. It's fairly borderline in terms of fuel for these cars up at the front. So, it's going to be very interesting. Oh, 4 cars in.
I think
78 is in.
I think now is here we're really seeing that green flag cycle start now.
Oh, 4 car having trouble
Ooh,
on
not
pit
good.
road. That's not good.
I wonder what that trouble is exactly.
And that's something I would be worrying about. Is this pit road has been very, very unkind and harsh to a lot of these drivers throughout practice. And it looks like it's bit Cassidy Jones. I think the 59's pitting. Yes, she is.
Interesting.
So the leaders come down pit road. 6 car, 96. Caution! Yellow flag is out. It looks like the 64 Moriyama. Might have gone around.
Guess it's not so bad for the 4 now.
Isabella Smith is the free pass car in the 15. We're going to try and see what happened, but looks like the 93 tried to come to pit road.
She tried to get in, bumped the 65.
I don't think that's
How
what
much?
it was.
Okay, so
Where was the yellow? Was it
what
here?
exactly caused the yellow?
Oh,
Oh, it
Latanya
was
Gray.
definitely here.
and they both just kind of spun it. So interestingly, the 6 of Mila Tristina has just gotten the lead from this.
I think a flying part just hit her window. Madison, what do you got on the 4?
Oh, we're seeing the 4 take the wave around here, and it was quite the range of misfortunate circumstances that led to this point. In particular, the Cassidy Jones got into her pit box, pulled up way too far forward, and then tried to go back. Then the jack broke, which was not convenient. They didn't have the spare jack ready, so they spent a very long time trying to get it. And that was basically the summary of what went wrong. And after that, they had quite a few repairs to do, and yeah, now they're in this big mess. And I don't even know what to say. That's pretty much the summary of it.
That is a mess. My heart goes out to the 4 team at this point. That's horrible.
Very unfortunate set of pit stops, but she got the wave around. She's got a chance to get back in the race. A good few cars ended up falling off the lead lap from this. But we do still have 17 cars on the lead lap as at the moment, as we're about to head back to Green Flag Racing. Hopefully for a good while here from Oswego. Everybody's good on fuel. It's a matter of can your tires make it to the finish now. Green flag, we're back racing.
If you manage those tires, you don't burn them out too quick, I think you could do it. But at the same time, we've seen some pretty decent defensive driving as well.
I believe the 84 came down pit road a second time, so she's actually 13. There's actually 18 cars on the lead lap.
Cannon on the inside.
Here comes the 59. She's got a good fast car right now. Here comes Mila Chestina's leading the race. Here comes Izzy Oberman in the 93. Winner last week in Kansas, looking to do it again. There's Karina Willis-Callaway, who's had 2 flat tires this race. She's still up here in the top 10. She's in the top 5, actually. Latanya Gray, 6th place. She was upside down earlier in the race. She might have a shot at winning this race.
Resilient driver right here.
And it's an Inverness Racing 1-2 right now as Tristina and Oberman lead the field. And again, if you're Freya von Lundquist, it's pretty much impossible. I think it actually is mathematically impossible for the 42 to be eliminated now, so she could just go for it.
She's ran well. And she is on the inside.
She's looking to the inside of Buchanan. Not going to make that move quite yet, though. There's Alice Hageman. Caution. Caution is out. Caution is out.
Oh
ooh,
my
big damage.
God.
Lexi Rockwood. Naomi Davenport. Ableton Perez.
good.
Looks like Schultz has damage. Well, Ellie, remember what you said about Davenport being able to avoid crashes?
It might be over for her with that record of avoiding crashes. Well, she's gotten hit before.
I think she'll be fine in terms of the playoff race, because again, remember, she came in plus 30.
Oh yeah, she has a ridiculously high cushion.
But, 64 Moriyama will be the free pass car. I say that, and she's just decided to pit instead. Okay, that's awesome. There are a few lap cars in between the top 10 that will get waved around. Let's see what happened here to bring out this caution flag. This happens up here. Oh, 78 gets into the 7. Oh my gosh!
And the 7's still racing?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think she is.
Could somebody check on her? Did we just have...
Good lord, that is a...
Did we have that AWSCO moment?
We'll hope for Munoz's sake that she's okay, because that was a rough impact.
Yeah, that did not look good at all.
'82 was lead lap. All right, so with that being said, the 5 will get waved around here, so she will go from 7 to 6 laps down. Wow. Pace car's off. Green flag. We're back to racing.
Back to green flag racing here. 93 on the inside, didn't get it.
Had a look, but couldn't get there.
Buchanan's looking.
Overman kind of tried the outside a little bit there. Meanwhile, here comes Latanya Gray. She's looking for 4th spot on Freya von Lundqvist. Madison.
After that wreck, the driver of the number 7, Reina Munoz, is being airlifted to the hospital in Syracuse for further examination. She is in stable condition, but does have injuries as a result of the crash. We will have more details later.
Very unfortunate to hear here from that camp, because she needed a good run, and not only is she going to be eliminated from the playoffs, it's very possible she may miss a good chunk of the remainder of this season. Meanwhile, Latanya Gray up to 3rd spot. She just got by Abby Buchanan, although she's trying to hold on. Buchanan's taken this spot back now.
The 65 in the 4th position right now.
Yeah, this car was upside down at the start of the race.
Upside down, rear end's missed. The side is caved in a bit. A lot.
Here comes Buchanan for 2nd on Izzy Oberman.
Oh, she's definitely got that.
That 59 looks like a car that has what it takes to reckon with.
Izzy's fighting.
The 93 is doing pretty good on the outside, but she's going to give it up here. Buchanan up to 2nd. Chistina is the leader, and she's looking for her first win. She stepped in this car mid-season. She's run pretty good all year, but meanwhile, hey, there's Cassidy Jones if you're looking. Now, keep in mind, Jones is still 2 laps down, but if she can get another couple yellows here, she may have a chance to get back to the lead lap. Because this car is still clearly very fast.
The 0-4 back up in the
Top
10
10.
as well.
Yeah. There's Jennifer Wilson in the 60 car running 5th.
Abby Buchanan got a good run.
Buchanan's closing up on Tristina, but is it going to be enough here? Top four kind of still within each other's grasp at the moment. You see Izzy Overman's closing back up on Buchanan now for second. Cassidy Jones starting to drive through a good chunk of the field here as well. It's very possible Jones could actually get a lap back by driving past the leader.
She very well could unlap herself. She looks like she has the pace to do so.
She's 2 laps down right now. Meanwhile, Izzy Oberman goes for second. And she's going to take it away from Buchanan. Now, Oberman doesn't actually need to do anything. She's already locked in because she won last week in Kansas. But I suppose it never hurts. I don't think we've had a driver win in back-to-back weeks in the Continental Series. We've seen it in Cup a couple times, but not in Continental.
It really would be something if that did happen.
Fight for fourth is on the table here. Ooh. Jennifer Wilson gonna battle Latanya Gray.
She got that.
I think she does have it, in fact. 7th spot at stake. Von Lundquist and Willis Calloway.
Got that pretty easily as well.
And Chistina's starting to pull away a little bit now from the 93 and the 59. That 6 car had a car that was able to pull away earlier in the race. She got back out front. She hasn't really given the lead up. You see the 4 of Cassidy Jones closing up here. There's Gray's teammate Isabella Smith in the 15 looking for a top 5. Now, if there's anything I am worried about if I'm Chistina, it's a yellow, which causes another restart. These cars continuing their battle for 8th. Jones has gone by Buchanan. Although Buchanan's fighting back. That's not going to help either of them if they're battling. It's definitely not going to help Buchanan battling a lap car.
It's kind of been their issue so far. I've been noticing with Buchanan is that she is constantly fighting other drivers.
Jones goes back on the inside of the 59, crosses her over.
No matter what type of track you're at, you don't really want to be fighting back and forth constantly with someone a position ahead or behind you instead of chasing down the leader.
Well, especially that because the 4 car isn't even on the lead lap.
Yeah, you're just wasting your pace at that point.
There's going to be some very interesting things going down at the end of this race.
30 laps to go.
30 to go. It's Chistina out front, Overman second, Buchanan third, Wilson fourth, and Smith in 5th.
And 30 laps to go on a short track. It goes a little quicker than you think, so we're getting close to that end game. I feel like things could get a little hairy soon.
Absolutely. Now if you're the 4, you're closing up on, if you're the 4, you've gone past second now. Cassidy Jones gone past second. If she can get by the leader and get ahead of the 44, and the caution were to come out, not only would she gain a lap back, she'd actually gain 2 laps back from this point because she would be in the free pass position.
Yeah, and that would put her in a great position.
That would put her back in the lead lap. I don't think she would have the position to win.
Maybe not to win, but she could possibly struggle and fight her way back into maybe around 10th place.
Yeah. She can definitely gain positions.
And the 04, who dropped out of the 10th position for a bit, got back in, now all the way back up to 8th.
And she may be chasing down this 65 car of LaTonya Gray as well.
Now we have the 2 car who dropped out for a while, also back in the 10th position.
Yep, she's up to 10th. You got Von Lundquist in 9th. Karina Willis-Callaway is 11th at the moment. Petra Ilatovsky still on the lead lap. She's been on the lead lap all day, despite everything. She's 13th. This is a run that I think she's got to be proud of.
Yeah, not a bad showing for a rookie. First race.
First start at a track type she's not 100% familiar with. Oh, the 84.
Ooh. And here's that caution, the 93. What should have been worried about, and if I was her, I would have been worrying about.
I think she might make it back to pit road.
The way her engine's
She's
smoking.
gonna make it back. That's not gonna be a caution, I
Not
don't
a
believe.
caution, actually.
She made it back to pit road, so that's not gonna be a yellow.
Never mind. If you're the 93, you can cool down.
Well, if you're the 93, you gotta go. The 93 is not that far off the 6 car either here, but...
And the 4 is not that far off as well.
Well, yeah, definitely not far off now because
And
she's
now-
going for that... She's trying to get that lap back.
And she is going to get that lap back. Caution comes out.
If there is a yellow, really, really helpful for Jones. But Shastina's trying to
She's
trying to fight back on the
her.
outside.
But that got the 93 just a little bit closer now.
Yeah, that's gonna reel those cars in.
Reeled them in quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, under half a second now, Oberman is.
Not really sure why she wanted to do all of that, but hey.
You get someone forcing the issue on the inside. Cassidy Jones has got to get away from this 6 car. She needs to make sure she's ahead at the moment of caution, as she's that free pass car at the moment of caution. If she's going to get that lap, if she's going to get all of her laps back. Meanwhile, 93 car is on Shastina's bumper. Right there.
Oh, she's looking on the inside.
Madison?
Well, sad end to the day for Tammy Bird, who was running so well all race. Piston number 8 went out and pretty much completely disintegrated, so there's no choice but to come to pit road. So, yeah, tough end for Tammy Bird, but that's just how racing is.
And she was running great all day, too. Unfortunate way to end it for Bird. Tristina, I think, is going to hold Oberman off for now, but we're coming towards the final 10 laps of the race. It's a 3-way battle, I think, for the win here. Chistina, Oberman, and Buchanan. As we've reached our Windows 11 to go, Mila Chistina, the driver from Czechia, leads this race. Izzy Oberman second, Abby Buchanan is third. This 6 car already has a win this year at a short track. She won, that car won with Lux Akuma back at Bristol earlier in the season. Tristina's trying to get that car win number 2. Latanya Gray sitting back here in 6th, holding on to this position at the moment. There's Isabella Smith in 5th. Tristina's starting to gain a little bit of a gap again. Now the 4 car is has caught the 44 of Connie. But we're reaching a point where a caution would be too late, and the race would just be over.
Well, if you're Cassidy Jones, at least you're in a really great race.
Yep, she's going to gain a spot out of that. She's up to 17th now. Justina just let Jones go. Jones needs those points. Him and 20 points up on the cut line, so... Fight for second. Buchanan goes for the spot on Oberman. And that's something that Justina will really enjoy seeing in her mirror. Because those two battling is going to hold them up.
And behind a lap car as well.
Yeah. She's put a lap car now between herself and second. 5 laps to go.
That might have just been their fatal mistake.
That might have been it. That might be it for those cars. I mean, none of these cars have anything really to lose. Oberman's locked in already. And she goes underneath the 59. Oberman might just want to see her teammate win.
Oberman actually gets a decent run, but it's not enough.
Didn't really need it anyways. I think I'd gladly take a P2 if I'm Izzy Oberman. In a week where that's pretty much a wash. 4th place, just changed hands. Isabella Smith just took it away. 3 laps to go for Mila Chistina. 2nd place still being fought over between Buchanan and Oberman. Two laps to go. White flag is out. One more time around for Mila Chistina. She's got a just over half a second lead. She's got enough of a lead where it's not going to be enough for any of these cars, really, to get to her. And with no rear bumper, it's not going to mean anything. Mila Chistina will take the checkered flag and win in Oswego.
Great finish for her.
Excellent finish for her. It's very possible that that 6 car could be in the mix for the owner point lead going into after this race. But as well, another thing as well, we're gonna have our playoff update in our post-race show here. With that being said, from Oswego Speedway, I thought that was a rather fun race. I actually thought that race was a lot better than I expected it to be. What are your thoughts?
I thought that was a really great race. There was a lot of lead changes for a short track. There was a lot of battling, no matter what place you were looking at. There was 2 cars battling each other for position, and it was very fun to watch them battle out. The top 5 was great to watch. The top 10 was great to watch. Overall, I would say that was a great race. I really enjoyed it.
An absolutely stellar run here from Mila Chistina, getting that 6 car's second win of the season. While she's not in the playoffs, that's still a pretty crucial win for that team. And it means that just the 93 is going to be the only lock into the next round via a win. But there will be some interesting developments going on for those advancing spots. We will have that for you in our post-race show. We're going to take you down to Rasha and Madison, who will cover the post-race here. And they will give, and we will have the playoff standings. We'll have the playoff standings and who advances to round 2 after this, after just a short little bit. What do you two got down there?
Well, a lot, haven't we? Well, we've got a lot, haven't we, with all those lead changes, all those retirements. In fact, only 21 cars finished and only 16 on the lead lap. So definitely a very chaotic race ultimately.
16. I mean, 16 on the lead lap's pretty good for a short track race, I think.
True.
The modified caution protocols definitely helped in that regard, but also definitely had quite a few competitive cars in there. I'd say anybody really in the top 13 or so, those top 13 cars probably had a decent car at the very least that had a shot of winning at some point or another. And so that's the kind of, I feel like that's just the kind of thing that kind of race that where as long as you were on the lead lap, you had a chance of being there or thereabouts at the end, I think. But a great race from
I can't disagree, honestly.
There, yes.
And certainly with some of those other drivers like Cassidy Jones, Tammy Bird, some of those cars were certainly very fast throughout the race and ultimately didn't get the result that they probably deserved. But yeah, honestly, just the whole AWSCO event really threw quite a few spanners in the works for a number of drivers. So I can't wait to see how the playoff standings shake up after this, because there will be a lot of movement. I guarantee you that.
Yeah. There will be a lot of movement. We'll see what the cut line battle looks like, because a lot of the drivers are below the cut line were already retired from this race, obviously. But yeah, really good race by Mila Chestina on that final run. Really good. That car was super dialed in at the end. There was just not that. I don't think anybody really had much of a chance against her there at the very end. That was just one of those races where the 6 was super dialed down at the end in that last run, and nobody kind of had the car to really get close there, other than maybe the 59 and 93 at bits and pieces of the that last run there. Jennifer Wilson and Isabella Smith finishing in the top 5. A good run by Emily Tremblay-Vaudrey in the Ford. Tanya Gray, after being upside down, finishes 7th in the end. Karina Willis-Calloway brings home a top 10. That's another driver that had problems early on. We saw her in a pretty big wreck for a car that lost a tire early on in the race. She finishes in the top 10, bringing it home 8th. Rachel Ramos brings it home 9th with absolutely no car left, and Freya von Lundqvist running out the top 10. And what about our 11th place finishes Petra Ilatovsky in the number 31 and on her debut. Good run for her there in her first race. Bit of a trial by fire here. Of all the races you want to start your AWSCO career on, a short track might be one of the worst places on, given just how crazy things can get here. But the 31
Absolutely.
managed to navigate things very well, I think.
Definitely not bad at all for being pretty much brand new to the series. So really is a trial by fire, and she sort of came out through the flames, really. And of course you have in 12th Alice Hageman, who ran decently well throughout the whole race, was running in the top 5 much of the time, but probably just happy to be in the race. And then you have Deborah Williams in 13th, Lynn Oswell in 14th, was contending for the win much of the day. Then of course Mayumi Moriyama in 15th and Zoe Quinton in 16th. Lap down Cassidy Jones in 17th, was a contender much of the race, had that pit stop disaster that took her out pretty much from contention.
Yeah. Things are gonna be interesting here. We'll see what things look like, but I think I think Ramos may have done enough. I want to say. Remember Cara Reynolds finished dead last, so she's gonna be dropping down quite a few bits on the order. I don't know if she's gonna make it through. Vinny might be good as well. I think we're getting. Are we getting? Oh,
Okay.
there it is. There's the
We
standings.
have the standings. Rachel Ramos is in.
Yeah, Reynolds
We
is
have
in
a tie for
by
15th,
a point, by a
14th.
single point. Is that? Yeah.
And yeah, that is out is Kara Reynolds, Zoe Quinton, Hideyoko, Rana Munoz, who is likely also out for some foreseeable races, and Isabel Fitzmaurice is also out of the playoffs. So that's how it looks. You have 15 drivers moving on to the next round.
Yep. Oberman, obviously, we already knew. Van Lundquist, Williams, Davenport, and Gray. Those were pretty much. They're the next ones in. Cassidy Jones, Lynn Oswald, Katrin Edelstein was also in a pretty good spot. Edelstein and Morales were both in pretty good spots, I think. Obviously, we're out of the race early, but their points cushions helped them. Martel, Starchiev, Sundale, Ableton, Perez, and then Schultz actually was tied on points with Ramos as well. Those were the two that ended up. Those two ended up tied at the end. So the last two spots there decided on that. I think it would be Ramos ahead of Schultz technically on countback, if that was actually consequential. Yes, because Ramos finishing ninth there helped. Ramos finishing ninth, I should say, would have broken that tie, and Reynolds would have had the tiebreaker over Schultz as well. If they ended up tied on points. So that 1 point really mattered for the 62.
Well, definitely.
And well, looking at the drivers that have been eliminated, obviously Yoko is probably the big miss here. Obviously, with those two wins and 8 top 10s, that's one of the with an average, and also an average finish of 17.97. That's a driver with a very good record. That's already out of the playoffs. So stats are pretty comparable to Vinny Schultz, who also just barely made it through. So I think her and Zoe Quinton as well, to a smaller extent, who ran well when she was moved over to the 80. Who's ran well ever since she moved over to the 82 as well. So obviously those two drivers I think are the real big miss from this next round. Cara Reynolds as well, who was at one point also a regular season championship contender, missing out. So that's quite a few drivers there that have been kind of knocked out of things now. Knocked out of proceedings, but still quite a few big names here. Moving on to the next round and looking at the calendar now for the next 3 races. We already mentioned that we have another short track in Martinsville. That'll be the cutoff race in Continental. I believe that'll be the cutoff race in both series. So Cup will also be heading over to Martinsville as well. But first 2 races, Oregon and Talladega. Where do I go with those racetracks? Oregon is obviously it's a 1.5 mile track, more of a conventional, more of a classic pill-shaped track. Think of the original configuration at Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's the kind of track that Oregon's modeled after. And from the races I've seen there, that tends to be a semi-pack race, kind of. It's one of those races where it's one of those mile and a half where drafting tends to be very important, especially in kind of the first half of a run. Things do tend to get a little bit strung out, but it's definitely a draft heavy track for a 1.5 miler. And then there's Talladega, which is Talladega. I don't think I need to go into that track.
Well, everybody knows what Talladega is, and then after that we have Martinsville, which is honestly in some ways just as crazy as Talladega, except instead
100%.
of going 200 miles an hour, you're going 80 and bumping into each other. So that'll be quite the race. And then of course after that we head west to Kern for a night in Bakersfield, and then after that Atlanta Rockingham Homestead close our season. But those next 3 races, Oregon, Talladega, Martinsville, all different types of tracks. So a lot to watch for and a lot for these drivers to find some trouble.
Yeah, this is a drafting heavy round, barring Martinsville, of course. So that's gonna be interesting to see. And with all the seating reset now again, things are gonna be just as tight as it was at the beginning of the round. Izzy Oberman obviously getting an extra bonus point from her win in the first round, putting her netting her 4 bonus points, as opposed to the 3, 2, and 1 that everyone else has. So yeah, nothing much had really changed. From a points perspective, everyone's back on equal footing, and with 2 tracks where position can be made up and lost very quickly, that's definitely going to make things really interesting. And Martinsville is an ever dramatic track, I feel like, to set as an elimination race. We've seen in the I should say all 3 of the NASCAR National Series. I think we've seen quite dramatic Martinsville elimination races, so the bar is set fairly high, I think, for what what an elimination race at Martinsville can be. But with just how close these points are, I think we might see some storylines that border that rival some of the stuff we've seen in the NASCAR series in here. But of course, that's to be determined. Lots of things to lots of time until we get to that race. But with that, actually, we should probably mention that the Cup Series race, of course, is coming up tomorrow. We're still in New York for that. We'll be at Watkins Glen, ever a fan favorite road course when it comes to stock car racing. That one's going to be probably one of the most fun road course events we'll have on the schedule. That's hoping for a great show there. I know I do tend to enjoy these races at Watkins Glen. Lots of classic moments, of course, when you think about stock car racing at Watkins Glen. And that's also an elimination race, so stakes are high there as well for the Cup drivers as they face how do I say? Lost my train of thought. That cars will be eliminated from the playoffs there. We'll also have 5 more cars getting eliminated after that race in the Cup Series. Any more thoughts on what do you think Watkins Glen's going to be like tomorrow, Madison?
Well, I've heard it called the super speedway road courses before because it's very fast and it tends to be very chaotic. Those barriers tend to come out pretty dangerously in places like the sort of chute between the carousel and turn 10, and then of course you also have the S is a very tight spot where things can go very wrong. Turn 1, plenty of room for mistakes there, so I'd expect for road courses a relatively higher amount of chaos than we've seen at most, but I think overall expect a pretty good race with a lot of passing in places like, turn 1, the chicane, turn 10, so lots to look forward to.
Yeah, it is fairly often you'll see these cars kind of bunch up at Watkins Glen. It's interesting because you don't really see that many times when it comes to road courses with these stock cars. They do tend to thin out in terms of the pack tends to thin out at most of these road courses, but at Watkins Glen that's not always that's less often the case. I think more often than not you'll see close racing at Watkins Glen. So yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to. So, at the very least, if they do thin out, you'll definitely get an interesting strategy race from that perspective, just from how much things change at Watkins and how short the lap is there. So, yeah, looking forward to that. I don't think there's much else to talk about here from the race at Oswego, but certainly a thriller of an event here. Good show. Had lots of green flag racing in the second half there. So I think definitely a satisfactory event, I would say, from a racing action perspective. And with that, I think we'll send it back over to the booth if they're ready to go here. And I think we'll give it a few more. We might give her another minute or two here. Let's see, what else can we talk about in Oswego? Oh, of course, the green flag cycle. That's another thing I wanted to go over through. That green flag cycle didn't end up being as much of a concern as we thought it was gonna be. We got through most of it at least, without major issues. And even once we did get that caution at the very end, it didn't really affect too many cars. I mean, I think we mentioned Cassidy Jones was the biggest loser of that, but that was more or less because of a complete botched pit stop more than anything else. You saw the 59 and 42 were on pit lane when the caution came out, and both of them filtered out on the lead lap. So, and both had competitive races at the end there. So, I will say, a bit of a surprise that we got, I'd say, about 90% of the way through a pit green flag cycle without any issues. Given how many problems we had under caution, that was definitely a surprise. I think that was a pleasant one. That was a pleasant surprise at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly quite a lot to draw from this race. Do you have any closing thoughts here as this broadcast begins to wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said everything I wanted to say. Had a good mix of racing already. Lots of green flag racing in the second half of the race. Mentioned the green flag cycle and all of that. Oh, of course, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the race. I said about the 93 team who were starting at the very back of the field that since the pressure was off on them, obviously they could use this race as a bit of a testing ground to see how you manage and execute your way through a short track event like that. And I'd say the 93 gained quite a bit of experience there. That drove a fairly clean, smart race. Ended up in the top 5. Almost got second, and brought home and almost got a 1-2 for the Inverness team. So I'd say that was a very successful event for the 93. And I think in terms of championship contenders, that 93 is looking more and more like a favorite now. What do you think of that team?
Honestly, I really can't disagree.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be tough to beat the 93 in any given race. I would say, but you never know in this series. We've seen stranger things before. I think. With that, we'll send you over back to the booth now, where Echo will wrap up the broadcast. It's been great having you here in the FanDuel Fan Studio, Madison. Bit odd not having Ellie here, given that she's in the broadcast but not here. But that's a different story. And hopefully we'll see you in the booth or the studio again soon, Madison. And with that, we'll thank you for being with us here in the joining us here in the FanDuel Fan Studio. I've been Roshan on behalf of Madison. Thank you very much for being here with us. Now over to Echo.
And a very fun race here from Oswego Speedway. 5 drivers eliminated from the playoffs after this race. And we will be there tomorrow at Watkins Glen. Will be a very fun race from the road course in Western New York. And next week, we're at Oregon Speedway in the Portland area in Oregon. That one will be a very, very fun race. That track being christened by LSCI. And, of course, we're going to be going there, too. All right, on behalf of Ellie, Rasha, and Madison, I'm Echo. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I will see you all in the next one. See ya!